Well, hello again. Trucker Todd here. Time for the Thursday night, in case you missed it, where we talk about everything that happened this week regarding the channel. I answer some questions that I might have missed through the week, things like that. We've got kind of a lot to talk about. There was a lot that happened this week, so much so that I even took notes. And so we're going to jump into it. I'm going to give people just a few minutes to get here in case everyone didn't receive the notifications yet. But definitely a lot to talk about. And I guess we can go ahead and jump in with the most obvious and work our way down from there. If you'll notice in the ticker, I'm no longer mentioning the fuel surcharge. I'm temporarily suspending it because I was pulling my information off of the Swift portal, and for the last 2 weeks, that information has been wrong. And until Swift can get their stuff fixed, and I can provide you guys with accurate information, I'm just going to hold off on doing that. And for those that need it, you can look on your pending settlements and see it, or you can go in the portal, or they do put a message on the Zonar most of the time when they want to. And so, also, a lot of you were asking me about my keyboard. On Tuesday, we had Joe Wentz on, which was a great interview. Had a fun time with him, and we couldn't get my keyboard to light up, and it was kind of dark in here, and it was hard to see. And he gave me some advice that did fix my keyboard, so we got that out of the way as well. Also, a lot of you have been asking me about the load situation here at Swift, and more specifically about the load board itself. Basically, I haven't talked about it a lot this week because there was no news. It's another area of frustration. They, how do I want to say this? Basically, the same stuff they were talking about a month ago, they're still talking about, they're still working on, and there's just nothing to share. And so when we do have something worth sharing, I will. We're still at about 30 testing it, and they're not adding any more people because they're having problems with that as well. So a lot of IT and technical problems at Swift right now, as I mentioned, with the fuel surcharge and now with this. And so I'm just decided that rather than do that and then be accused of putting out bad information or being made fun of, I'm just going to quit doing it for a while. We're going to go down to my good friend, the mayor. Joe was the bomb. I agree. Several of you asked me about having Joe on as a regular co-host, maybe once a month or a couple times a month. The problem with that is his schedule. He works nights, and his days off are Friday and Saturday. And so if we end up doing a live on a Friday or Saturday night, we'll definitely have him on. But on the times that he is not working on Thursday, on the nights he's not working on Tuesday, like for vacation or something, we'll try to get him back on then as well. He had another trucker video come out today, kind of his day in the life stuff, and he referenced that interview we did together, and it's a really good video. If you guys haven't checked him out, I would encourage you to do that. Let's see what else we want to talk about. A lot of you mentioned that I haven't talked about the Volvo I bought, that I had said I was going to give driving impressions. I didn't do it. Basically, mechanically, it was super sound. I was very happy with it. The thing that was most enjoyable is it was nice to actually drive a truck. And I know some of you are thinking, well, you drive a truck every day. But I mean one that didn't have the beepers and buzzers and slamming on the brakes, that I was in control of, that I was shifting the gears, and you actually had to drive the truck. The truck didn't halfway drive itself. So it kind of took me back to old school trucking, and it was something I really enjoyed that week when I was driving it. Now it is sitting at my shop, and we're making minor repairs to it while I wait for the title to come in. You can't really do anything with the truck while you're waiting for the title to come in. Once the title comes in, I'll get those minor things fixed, and then we'll look at putting it on at Swift. They approved the truck once before, just a few weeks ago, And as long as everything goes smooth and it gets approved again, we'll lease it on again with Swift. Let's see what else we got here. We did a survey on YouTube, and I asked you guys if you thought I should go to Phoenix and interview some of the office people. And it was pretty split, like 51-49 or 50-50, depending on when you look. Some of those were people that didn't have a dog in the fight, people that just didn't like me or whatever. And so the results were a little bit skewed, but it ended up becoming a moot point because next week is spring break in Phoenix. And I'm told that a lot of the leadership would be out of the office, and it wasn't the best time to do an interview. So we're going to back burner that for now. I'm not even going to worry about interviewing any Swift people for a while. And we're just going to focus on the other things that's going on. We got plenty of other things to talk about, and including I got a big announcement here in just a minute that we're going to get to. Who they got working on the load board truck drivers. Yeah, you know, they claim they've got 2 companies working on it, and they've already gone through a couple of IT departments, the way I understand it. Now I'm getting my knowledge on that secondhand. So if anything I say is wrong, I'm sure I'll hear about it on YouTube later. People will make fun of me, but the way I understand it, they've been trying to develop this load board for a few years now, and they've had a lot of trouble with IT. I don't get it. I don't know what the problem is, but it moves at a snail's pace. Also, there was a fleet manager this week that was telling drivers that it would be ready August 1st. And I would not be announcing that because we're not even at the point where we can add beta people yet for testing. So I don't know how we're at the point where we can start talking about adding, 1,500, 1,800 independent contractors to it. And, they're only in phase 2 at best from the optimistic standpoint. So, I'd be shocked if it's August 1st, but maybe that fleet manager knows something I don't. Mayor said planners probably. Yeah, maybe. Good thing those tech companies weren't working on Apollo 13. Exactly. But I do believe that the IT department might be the same guys that work on the shake machine at McDonald's, because it's been real similar. My good friend Chris is here. He said Brett told him. Brett in the past has gave several dates, and I don't know. I didn't know that he was doing that again, but maybe it will be ready August 1st. I would say I'd be cautiously optimistic, and I'd be real surprised if it's ready that quick. Chris has it in writing. Well, you're definitely ahead of the rest of us then, Chris. Chris, he's a funny guy. Good friend and a funny guy. So other things that we need to talk about. I mentioned in the Tuesday video that there was something I was a little upset with Swift about. I haven't commented on it because Swift has not responded, and I wanted to give them time to respond. But enough time's passed, I think we need to cover it. So off of the load board on Saturday, I booked a load going from the Carolinas. I don't remember if it was North Carolina or South Carolina. I think it was South Carolina, going to New Braunfels, Texas. And it was supposed to pick up Monday at 3 p.m. It was a live load, and I already was on another load, so it was going to work out good. I was going to deliver my other load Sunday evening and then pick this one up Monday at 3 p.m. So they knew about it Saturday. That's what's important here. And I mean, it was pretty early Saturday, like noontime or something. So on Sunday morning at 6:35 a.m., while I was asleep, I received a message that load had to be picked up by Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Now, those of you in trucking know, especially at these smaller warehouses, there's not a whole lot of live loads at Sunday evening at 7 p.m. So I was already a little skeptical. I was already a little surprised, but then it got worse. So I called the planner because at the bottom of the dispatches, it shows the planner's number. Of course, I got their voicemail. They didn't answer. I left them a voicemail and they never called back. So Monday morning, I went ahead and booked myself another load. Now, this other load I booked cost me about, I don't know, 600 miles or so in revenue. And it wasn't as good of a load, but it was the best I could find scrambling for a replacement load. And those of you that have been on a load board, you know what it's like to scramble for a replacement load. So I called my OOC and I sent him screenshots of my Zonar. I sent him screenshots of the load board, everything. And because they had already sent it to my Zonar. So that means Swift had seen it. They had seen that the appointment was at 3 p.m. on Monday too. He says, that's strange. I've never seen anything like this before. Let me do some investigating. Now, since then, he has not gotten back to me. I've asked him about it. He said that the girl he needed to talk to was out of the office. Then he himself was sick the last couple of days. I reached out to the head planner at Swift during our load board meeting of all things. And he said he was aware of the situation and he was looking into it. So, some of you conspiracy people are going to think that Swift was up to something. Some of you cynical people are going to think Swift is unorganized. And me, I don't know what it is, but I think it's really suspicious that we can't get an answer. If the answer is that another driver needed that load to get home or something, just tell me. I'm okay with that. If the answer is, hey, our CSR put it in the computer wrong, that's fine. Mistakes happen. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. But when it takes multiple days to get an answer of what happened, I become a little skeptical. And I'll be totally honest with you. It is an area of frustration. We're about to get into the big announcement I want to share with you guys, but I want to say hello to a few more people that have jumped in. Mr. Salamanca is here. Good evening, Mr. Todd. Obviously, a Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad fan like I am. I love the shows, both of them, and I appreciate you being here tonight. At least you had a load board to go to. The rest of us are stuck with planners who don't listen or don't care. Well, I still deal with planners too, especially when I need to go home because, it's not all of the loads are on the load board yet. It's solo over the road freight that's on there. And so there's a lot of stuff, a lot of your bigger distribution warehouses that I'm not going to name any names on here. But all of the big ones, say the big 4 or 5 that you can think of, a lot of that freight's not on there. So you still got to deal with planners, but we're testing it. Trucker John said he didn't get a notification, but he made it. Man, I really appreciate you guys doing that. And the only thing I'd say is double check and make sure you're subscribed. YouTube's been removing subscriptions and things like that. Make sure you've clicked that bell and selected all. But I try to do this every Tuesday and every Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Time. Speaking of the dog, I shouldn't say dog. My good friend Joe Wentz, Project TV, is here. We were just talking about you. I was telling them about your trucker video you released today. It was really good, and there's some good guitar riffs in it too. So everybody make sure you're subscribed to Joe and go check that out. Harrah's Cherokee Casino. Yeah, also, everybody wish Joe's wife a happy birthday. Today's her birthday, and they're celebrating at the casino. I was going to call, but I didn't want to bother him while they're celebrating, so I sent him a message on his video. But happy birthday to your wife, and hope you guys win lots of money. And more importantly, if you do win, I hope you split it with me. But y'all have fun up there, all kidding aside. Asphalt Jungle, who's also becoming a good friend and really big supporter of the channel lately, says, hit it, folks. He's referring to the thumbs up. I'm glad he's here. Now let's get to the big announcement. Very few people know this, but at the end of this month is Matt's in Louisville, Kentucky. And that's the Mid-America Truck Show. I have never been to a truck show before. I'll be totally honest with you. But on that Friday, I'm scheduled to appear with Trucker CFO. I'm not sure exactly where in the convention center we'll be, but we'll be giving out some Trucker CFO merchandise. My good friend, the mayor that's in here, will be my camera guy. We're going to go live and film it. And, it'll give me a chance to meet some of you guys. I'm going to try to be there all 3 days. And, I'm expecting, I've never been to one, but I'm expecting a lot of trucks to be there. And hopefully I can do some YouTube shorts on the trucks and maybe put some videos on TikTok and stuff for guys that aren't able to be there. But if you're going to be at Mid-America, shoot me an email, let me know. And it'd be great to run into some of you guys out there. And I know we've got a lot of plans as far as there's a real nice steakhouse we're going to try to hit and some things like that. So I hope you can be there. Wow, Joe, thanks a lot, man. Joe just did a $20. I guess is that a super chat? Is that what they call that? I'm still learning the terminology. But thank you so much, Joe. He's another one that's been a really big supporter of the channel. It's not expected, but it's definitely appreciated. And I thank you for that, especially in these times when a lot of people are struggling. No, it wasn't. It was, shoot, I got it right here. I can pull it up. This load picked up in nope, I don't even have it on here. I was so mad I threw the page away, but it picked up in I want to say South Carolina and went to New Braunfels, and it's gone. I don't know what happened, but I've got my suspicions, but it's kind of put a sore taste in my mouth. I wish they would just come clean, tell me what happened, because several drivers have experienced that where they're on a load and it removes them from it. And we're all trying to figure out what happened. Yeah, I do believe it was a bean load, but I don't know for a fact. Like I say, I don't have that paper anymore, but I do believe it was a bean load. This Trucking Life says, I'll be there. Went last year. It was a blast. I'm going to try to be there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So hopefully we'll run into each other. It's my understanding that there's thousands of people there. So it's possible we'll miss each other if we don't email, or if you got my phone number, text me. But I hope to meet as many of you as I can. And I hope you'll show up when we're giving out, t-shirts and stuff like that. Get you a free shirt. My good friend Trucker CFO is the one that's going to be doing that, and I'm going to kind of sit in with him. And if you're not able to be there, we'll do a live stream and you can catch it live, and you'll know when we do that if you're subscribed. I'll try to get it set up about an hour before we do it so that notifications will go out and everybody can see it. That load board in August was pretty good one too. Face green smile. Yeah, I get it, man. Yeah, and I want to be clear on that. Nobody has specifically told me I could or could not post a screenshot, but I know most companies don't like you to do it because they consider it proprietary. That'd be one of those deals when I do go to Phoenix and I can sit down with people. I'll find out what the rules are, and I'm sure there's information they don't want me to share, like customer names or things like that, or high value loads. But I always err on the side of caution. Same thing with doing videos while I'm driving. Even if I have a camera on the dash facing me, I'm reluctant to do those things because you never know when that stuff could come back and bite you. But Yeah. Jonas says, "Oh, okay, yeah." So I'm pretty excited about going to Matt's, and I really hope I get to meet a lot of you people up there. Several people have wanted me to do something where I'd be out and could meet people, and that's going to be an opportunity. And I know a lot of us have got to work and can't take the time off. So for those that can't be there, I'm going to try to bring as much of it as I can to you. So it should be fun. Yeah, I don't even know who would have one from August. I thought he was talking about the current one. The current one's actually pretty good in my opinion. It's pretty basic, and they're still adding features to it, but it's not bad. It's I understand what they were going for there. They were trying to make it simplistic so that people that never ran a load board could jump right in, and so I think uh, I think it'll be really good. I believe it starts March 30th. Let me pull up my calendar. It's that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the end of March. Let's see here. Calendar. Yeah, so it'll start the 30th, and the first would be the last day of it on Saturday. And I don't know if I'll stay the full day on Saturday or just part of the day. It'll depend on what kind of loads and stuff I can get out of there. I'm sure it'll be tough to get a load out of there because there'll be hundreds of trucks trying to get a load out of there. And I'm sure getting in there will be a lot of fun too. Lots of vendors and live demonstrations. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to go around and talk to some of the companies about coming on the Tuesday show if I see something I like. And so I'll try to share those companies and people with you if I run into them while I'm there. I think it'll be a good time and a good experience. I've wanted to go for a lot of years, and at first when I got asked this year, I said no, and then I said, well, maybe, and now I've decided that I will be there, or I'm scheduled to be there unless something weird happens. And Chris said, yeah, he wanted one of the old load board. That may be hard to come up with now. The load board will be good in August of 2027. Honestly, that date is a lot more realistic than some of the other dates I've heard people throwing around. It's just, I had no idea. I had ran a lot of load boards, but I had no idea how hard it is to set one up, or all the little problems that arise while they're setting it up. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all that it could take some time. I hope by the end of the year, but um, I'd be shocked if it's in August. And so anyway, let's see if I've got anything else that I want to talk about. Those that don't know, the founder of Love's Truck Stop died this week. I also saw an article that TA was closing 200 and something truck stops, and there was I believe it was a TA in Oregon that burnt down. So, been a lot of misfortune for TA Petro and for the Loves family as well. So, that's about all I've got. If you guys got anything y'all want to talk about or questions you want to ask me, throw them up there and we'll delve into them or dive into them. Man, my tongue ain't working. I need to drink some of my Coke Zero. I'm in McLean, Texas. Um, I'm split logging right now, so I didn't get as much sleep as I would have liked last night, and so I'm kind of dragging. I'm pumping myself full of caffeine, and hopefully we can get through this. Stick to dedicated owner operator accounts. Yeah, I always think that I love dedicated accounts because you have kind of steady pay, things like that. But I find myself getting bored after a while. I really enjoy traveling around the country, seeing different places, waking up at a spot different every day, and meeting people out on the road. I really get a lot of fun out of that, and it's it's just personal preference. I spent most of my truck driving career trying to get off the road. And then now that I'm getting older, I'm getting to where I'm trying to stay on the road. I like it. I really do. And so for sure, that's what I want to do for now. You never know in the future. I've said for a while, especially now that I got that Volvo, I wouldn't mind doing Texas only freight. Texas is big enough I could do that. And you never know what's around the corner. But right now, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. At this point in my life, I'm the happiest I've ever been. Exactly. That's the flip side of it too. Everybody thinks they want a dedicated account, but there is dedicated accounts here at Swift that pay less than $1 a mile. Plus you get the fuel surcharge on that, but substantially less than what OTR pay is. Now, there are some perks to it, like that one account I'm thinking of, you get super cheap fuel at the distribution centers. So there are some perks to it, but as a general rule, you're going to have consistent freight. You're going to move more, but you may move more at a reduced rate. And for some people, that's fine. Like me, that might be okay because to me, there's more to trucking than just money. And so I might be okay on making a little less money if it got me home more and I needed to be home more, or if I just didn't want to sit, I wanted to stay moving all the time. But right now, for me, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Now, you guys saw by my earlier comments in this video, it does not mean I'm always happy with Swift. And I'm not on here. I had a good friend call me today. And in his situation, I didn't recommend Swift. I don't blindly recommend Swift for every guy that calls me. But for what I'm doing, I really like it here. And that's the honest truth. Now, that doesn't mean it won't end next week or in 2 weeks or 6 months or even 10 years. But all good things must end at some point. But I'm going to kind of ride this wave as long as I can. Let's see. Hauling out of Lowe's, and most times I'm only deadheading max 100 miles to my next closest DC. Yeah, I did Lowe's dedicated for another company. Oh gosh, I don't even know how many years ago, and it was a pretty sweet deal. That's not a bad account to be on for sure. And so yeah, I can understand that. And like you said, the deadhead's not bad. That's another thing. Some of these dedicated accounts have a lot of deadhead. I can think of one dedicated account that they pay you loaded rate both ways. So you can make really good money even if the rate is a little lower than what you'd make on OTR because you're getting it going both ways. Is freight slow for you guys at Swift also? So I would tell you it depends on where you're at. There's definitely people here that are complaining about a slowdown in freight. I've stayed consistently busy. This week I only had about 2,000 or 2,100 miles. But remember, I lost 600 miles or 700 miles when that other trip fell off. I should have been at about 27 or 2,800, but just kind of a weird thing that happened. The week before that, seems like I was at about 3,000. But I do know some guys here that have experienced slow freight, and I've received some phone calls about it. And there is some frustration. It does seem to be picking up this week, though. I'm getting loads a lot quicker, and things do seem to be getting better. But you have to remember that I'm kind of an optimist, and so I'm always looking for the positive in it. So to me, it seems like it's picking up. But I know for some people, they haven't experienced that yet, if that makes any sense. I pick up my truck tomorrow. Any tips? Can I be on account with Swift? So I need a little more information. Are you picking up your Swift truck tomorrow, or are you buying a truck and looking for somewhere to lease it, D-Train? If you'll give me that information, I'll try to get that. I think you're asking if you can be on a dedicated account with Swift. If that's your question, yes. Most of the dedicated accounts allow owner operators, but you just have to check on which one you want to be on. As far as tips for picking up your truck, I've got two major tips that nobody listens to me about, and I get made fun of for saying. Read your contract. If you don't understand it, read it again. If you still don't understand it, get somebody to look at it. And I don't mean your neighbor. Find somebody in the company, get you a lawyer, whatever. Read and understand your contract. Also, inspect your truck thoroughly. I see down here you're getting an MRP truck. Look over your truck thoroughly. If you find something wrong with it, the first 30 days they've been covering repairs, it's better to get it fixed at the terminal because they can get it done a lot quicker than if you notice it, 10 hours later when you're down the road and you've got to try to get in a shop or a dealership or another terminal. So read your contract, look your truck over, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't assume anything. And, contact me if you need to. Contact your recruiter or your OOC, which is the same thing as a fleet manager, and you'll be fine. Manage your fuel well, things like that. Take care of that truck, and it should be a good one for you. Let's see who else we got here. I've been consistently around 3,100 since mid-January. Todd is getting a little bit better, but some of the loads we're seeing are random and crappy. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know that I'm getting any better. I do not believe I receive special treatment. Not at all. And so I have, like I said, this week I only had 2,000 miles. But Chris that was in here a minute ago, he runs like 3,200 a week. So it's kind of all over the board. Some of it depends area you're running, things like that. Some of it depends on communication skills, but you can make it, and it does seem like it's picking up. I really believe that. Let's see if I can get this to go. Good truck stop near Tyler. I always stop at that. What is it, a Pilot or a Flying J there? It's got the McDonald's in it. I wouldn't say there's a good one. They have those ones in that area, depending on where you stop. I think they're called Texas Best. They have pretty good barbecue. One of them has a Sonic in it. So there is some truck stops down there. It just kind of depends what you're into. But I don't run to that area a lot. So some of these other guys might give you some better recommendations for that area. Let's see. Okay, so D-Train says that he's doing reefer and he wants to know more about the load board. So the load board is solo over the road only, and it's still being beta tested. There's currently 30 of us testing it. If you're in reefer, it's going to be even longer before you can get on it, or flatbed. They're going to start out with a dry van first, and it'll be up and the way we understand it as of now, it'll be up and running well before they open it to other divisions. So in the reefer division, you're probably going to be dispatched for a while. Now, whether it's worth trading to dry van or something, I wouldn't do it right now. There's a waiting list to get on the beta testing of the load board. And I want to remind everybody, not all the freight is on there yet. It's a smaller percentage of the freight. So just know it's still got a ways to go. And it's, in all fairness, I said earlier, it's good. It is good, but it's not ready for prime time. It's got a ways. And some of you would get really frustrated on it. And I experienced some of that frustration this week, but hopefully it'll continue to improve. Is the load board for owners only, or can company drivers use it? It's for owner operators only. And right now it's only for people that have been hand selected to do the beta testing. They do have a waiting list that you can get on if you want to be added, but they're currently not adding any more people. And I know what you're saying though, like USA Truck had a load board for company drivers. And to me, my opinion personally, it's really unfair when you do that because the qualifications for why a company driver would pick a load are much different than why an owner operator would pick a load. And it takes some good loads away from guys that have to worry about trucks. It takes loads away from guys that have to worry about truck payments and insurance and things like that. Sorry, I was reading a comment over here at the same time I was talking. No truck not used on canceled dispatch. I haven't experienced that yet because I wasn't actually at the shipper so I didn't qualify for a truck not TONU, truck ordered not used. I didn't qualify for that. Some companies call it a vehicle or a VOR, vehicle ordered returned. It was way before I got there. Like I said, this was like Sunday morning when they took it off of me, and I wasn't even supposed to pick it up until 3 p.m. on Monday. So I haven't experienced that yet because it got removed before I was even close to the place. So it pays mileage on the slide and pay scale just like over the road does. As a matter of fact, you have to be part of Solo Over the Road to be on it. And while we're talking about that, right now I'm okay with that because in many cases, the mileage rates work out just as good or better than what they would if you was on a percentage getting 70% and having to pay your tolls and having to pay your deadhead and all of that. So right now I'm okay with it, but should rates on the spot market jump back up, then you'll see me advocating for a percentage at Swift. And while you're thinking about that, you got to think about this too. What's the percentage going to be? You know, if it's 55 or 60%, then no. You guys have heard me criticize Landstar being at 65, and I had a Landstar guy call me this week, and he convinced me Landstar's not as bad as what I thought it was. But still, I would like Landstar, and I told him this. I'd like Landstar a lot better if it was at 75 or 80%. But still, that's right now the short answer to your question. It's on the same sliding mileage pay scale as an over-the-road solo truck driver. The chosen ones are the only ones on it, LOL. Yeah, there's a little bit of truth to that. I was chosen to be on it prior to even hiring on here because I had over 2 years of experience of actually running load boards and dealing with rate cons and dealing with brokers and negotiating my own rates. And so that's, in my opinion, I'm not going to try to guess what other people are thinking. That's the reason I believe I was added to it, plus 25 years experience. And I'll never forget, I had a guy that contacted me and he criticized me and said, oh, the only reason I got on the load board was because I had a YouTube channel. And so I said, have you ever worked a load board? Well, no. I said, how many years experience you got? I got 20 years. And I explained to him my experience, and that kind of shut him up. He realized, oh, okay, well, maybe there was a reason they put you on it other than YouTube. Sometimes people want to make excuses for why they're not where they want to be in life. And I'm seeing a lot of that. These people quit these companies, and it's always the company's fault. They never did anything wrong. They didn't not run their business correctly. They didn't save. It's always the company's fault. The company did this to them. The company did that to them. And I can assure you, when I leave Swift, and like I said, whether that's tomorrow, whether that's 20 years from now, when I leave Swift, it will be a step up and not a step sideways or a step down. It'll be, and so that's what I can say at that. It'll be me running the load boards again in the spot market with my own truck or something like that. It won't be me doing a lease purchase that might or might not be better than what I'm currently in. Unless, as soon as I say never, something happens. But that's the plan. I'm always trying to move ahead. And yes, I feel like Swift is an upgrade from Dart. I feel like Dart was an upgrade from Roadrunner. I do feel like that. I got to where I'm at now by moving forward. And so I'm grateful for all those opportunities, and I learned a lot. There's no doubt that I wouldn't be on the load board beta testing it right now if I hadn't got education at Roadrunner learning how to use the load boards. We only dealt with one broker there, but I got used to talking to brokers and what questions to ask and how to negotiate. And so because you had to get broker loads to go home usually because they were terminal to terminal. And that job led me getting TART, where since I had load board experience, they let me on what they called the OPI board. And then it got popular and they had a waiting list for it. But that would have never happened if I hadn't have been at Roadrunner and learned what I was doing. And then I went to Swift, and Swift would have never let me beta test the load board had I not had all that other experience at Roadrunner and Dart. So instead of getting mad and blaming a company or something like that, look at your situation and see what you can learn, how you can make yourself more valuable in the market. Cassius King had a really good video a couple of weeks ago where he was talking about trip planning your life. And that wasn't the term he used, but it was basically it. And he talked about how you trip plan for a trip, but you don't trip plan your career or your business. And I see a lot of people doing that, especially since he did that video, and I've given it some thought. And so that's what I would say about that. So what else have we got? We've been going 42 minutes now. If it's kind of slow tonight, we may wrap it around the 1 hour mark, but I want to make sure I give everybody time to get in here and ask what they want to ask. Are any of the others of you planning to go to Matt's and might be there during that time? I know some of you won't know till right then. You might get a load passing through there or something. But so we got another question. Can I use the fuel card anywhere? How do they work out home time? So the fuel card is a Comdata fuel card. You can use it anywhere you want that Comdata is accepted. I have the ES Advantage card, which I'll be honest with you, you'll save a lot more money with it than you will with the Swift fuel card. They actually don't have a discount. They have a rebate. It's a nickel at the major 5 truck stops, and you can beat that on your own. You can get a fuel card on your own that you can save a lot more money, and I recommend that. In the time being, you can use an app called FuelBook. You can also use Mudflap, and I've got a link for that in the description below. Mudflap will give you $10 off if you fill up within the first 5 days of using my link. So all of that's down there. And I believe the referral code, if you just go to Mudflap on your own, is Trucker Todd. So look at those things. Those are other ways that are going to save you several $100s a month in most cases. I think that meant good evening. Good evening, Manny. Manny's got a pretty good YouTube channel too, if that I looked at the other day. Manny, you might put the name of it down in the comments. I'm subscribed, but I don't remember the name of it, and we'll promote it on here if you put it down there. I trip plan everything I do in life, have for 30 years. I've always set goals, planner, and do my trip plan for life and work. Hello. Yeah, I always ask why they preach trip planning when they don't plan you. Exactly. When I run load boards, and especially at Dart, when I had all those brokers, I started planning myself home a week prior. I knew I had to get to this area because it's kind of hard to get to Lubbock. And now I see planners wait until 3 days before I'm supposed to get home. And then they're going, oh, we don't have nothing going that way. And I'm like, you waited too long to start planning. And so, yeah, I don't want to be that armchair quarterback that goes, oh, well, the planner this, the planner that. But at the planner that plans me better than I plan myself. That's okay if you still want to put the name of your channel in here. I I don't mind telling people about it. You did a video this week about having things on your truck that you need to have, little things you need to have on your truck. And it was pretty good, especially for a beginning video. And I don't mind telling people about it if you want to put it down there. I may regret doing this. I'll have 200 people promoting their channel on here and we'll just get everybody confused. But I did think it was pretty good. And anytime, I don't get to watch as much YouTube as I used to, but anytime I see something good, something positive on YouTube, I want to give you guys a shout out. The starting a YouTube channel is tough. It's a grind and it takes some time before you get any traction. And so a lot of YouTubers are reluctant to help you when you're starting out, and I don't mind giving you a shout out for sure. Let's see, what else have we got down here? Anybody else got anything? This might be a short one. I'm racing out to Arizona as quick as I can. I got a 16,000 pound load, so fuel economy's good. It's a little windy today, but I'm trying to get out there as quick as I can because it's a drop and hook when I get there. And I'm waiting to book anything else after that until I see closer to when I'm going to get there in case I have some weather delays or wind delays or traffic delays or things like that. But yeah, things are going good. The Freightliner's still running strong. And I definitely feel your frustration about the loads. And hopefully, and I'm a fair guy. If Swift comes back Friday or Monday and tells me what happens on that load or what happened on that load, I'll share it with you either Tuesday or Thursday. That fits better in the Thursday format because on Tuesday we're usually interviewing people. And I got 2 guys that are in the loop for this Tuesday. I'm not sure which one's going to appear, if either of them, but I think I've got a really good Tuesday show lined up. And when I mentioned it to one of the guys I get a lot of advice from, the mayor that's in the comments a lot, he's been real influential in helping me set this live up. When I mentioned it to him, it kind of surprised him that I had that in my wheelhouse of ideas as well. But let's see if we got anything else we want to talk about here. I kind of wonder if I should move this Thursday show to Friday nights. It seems like Friday nights do well for a lot of people. I like the Tuesday show. It seems to do pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, please do. If you don't do any other advice I say, read your lease and look your truck over. Do those 2 things, and feel free to contact me or another Swift driver that you trust and value their opinion, and ask them questions and try to learn everything you can. None of us know it all, and none of us are any better than any of the rest of us. We've all been in that spot where we're at a new company and we've got questions and we don't know who to ask and we're frustrated. And I don't mind helping you, or if you've got somebody that can help you, then it'll just make your transition that much easier. A lot of times on your first load, they'll get you a T-called load off the yard there and kind of help you get your feet wet. And if you need to get home to get your stuff or something, they're usually pretty good about doing that. Communication's the key, though. They can't read your mind. That might be the 3rd piece of advice. So call them, talk to them, and don't talk down to them, because they're people just like you don't enjoy being talked down to. They don't like it either. But talk to them, tell them what you're needing. And even though you don't have to, I tell them why. I need to go by the house. I just got this truck. I've got a bunch of tools there. My straps are there. And they'll try to accommodate you depending on. Now, Lubbock, they're not going to have something straight from their terminal to Lubbock in my case. So I know that I probably need to carry a couple weeks of clothes when I go pick up my truck. I know that I need to carry as much as I can. Now, in my case, I told them, say, hey, I'm going to bring everything. I'm going to be ready to work when I get there. So we got a rental car, and that way I could carry everything. Want to make Swift my last job, LOL. I'm just looking for consistency, driving for 6 years. Yeah, there is nothing I hate worse than moving trucks. It is, if you've never had to move out of a truck, it is a job climbing in and out of the truck and carrying your stuff. And it's usually hot or really cold, and you're dealing with weather, and you're usually under the gun for time and stuff like that. So that's kept me at a lot of jobs a lot longer than I would have stayed there, just because I was like, oh man, I don't want to unload this truck. Okay, this is another good one we need to talk about. Oops, I got on the wrong one. No more rental car. Yeah, exactly. The Swift equipment for sale page has 19 Freightliners with 65,000 miles, or for 65K with 330,000 miles. So we need to talk about that, because they wanted me to do a video about that page, and it confused a lot of people. There's actually one that is for IEL, and it has trucks for sale for cash, like a lot of trucking companies have. And then there's a page that Swift has that is for leasing trucks. The problem with I don't know about the first one I mentioned. The problem with the second one I mentioned is they haven't updated that inventory in probably close to a year. So the trucks that are on there probably aren't available. But if you see one on there you like, you can use it as an example of what you're looking for. So, for example, if you get on there and you see an international you like or a Freightliner you like, you can call your recruiter when it gets to that point after your drug test and say, hey, I'm looking for a truck just like on that website, stock number, whatever, or whatever information it has, the third one down on the right or whatever. And they will try to find you what you're looking for. Now, keep in mind, just because you want it and just because you see it doesn't mean they got it. But they want you to be in a truck you like, and they want you to be happy. So, but keep in mind that those websites, the trucks go so fast that it's almost impossible to keep it updated. And I'm really not criticizing them for that, even though it sounds like I just did. Let's see what else we got. The truck I picked was a 2018 Freightliner with 200,000 miles. I would say you hit the jackpot, because that's going to be an MRP truck, and that is the lowest mileage MRP truck that I've seen. So congratulations. I think you got you a good one. Ted says, hello, Mr. Todd. Love your show. I appreciate that. Earlier today, here's something else we can talk about. Earlier today, Swift had a live video where they're going to be sponsoring a NASCAR. And I was watching that video, and I put a question in there about how long the truck was going to be at the terminal, if they're going to have it there over the weekend, or if it was leaving out in a few hours, because I was going to try to get by there and see it. And somebody put in the comments, Trucker Todd, and then they put a goat beside it, meaning greatest of all time. And I really appreciate that. You guys are way more kind to me than I deserve, but I appreciate each and every one of you. Was where I was going with that story. And so, by the way, the Swift NASCAR looks pretty neat. I like the paint job on it. They had the driver there, and I'm not a big NASCAR fan, so I didn't know who he was. I texted it to my uncle, because he's a big NASCAR fan. And let's see, I think I've got it here. His last name was Blaine, and so he was there at the presentation of the car, and he was signing autographs and stuff like that. And so it was a pretty nice event. It was pretty short, but yeah, that's another thing that's going on. That terminal in Phoenix is just massive if you guys have never seen it. Blaney, there it is. There it is. All right, see, I just proved I don't know anything about NASCAR. That's one thing you'll learn about me. The things I know a lot about. The things I don't know about, I don't know hardly anything about. But the deal is, I'll tell you I don't know about it. And does that mean I never get the facts wrong? No, sometimes I give out bad information or I misunderstand something. But I always make an effort to tell you guys the truth. and to share with you what I do know. And I hope you guys will share with me what you know as well, because that's the only way we're going to get better, is if we learn from each other. It's just a fact. Is Matt's more looking at trucks or researching trucking companies? I'm a new CDL holder without a job starting in June. That is a great question. Maybe some of the other guys can answer it in the comments. As I said, I've never been to one. This is my first one, and I'm a little extra nervous because I'm going to be making an appearance there. But I'm going to go Thursday. That's kind of what I'm going to do, is kind of canvas out the place and kind of get a feel for it, and try to put up some TikToks and some YouTube shorts of the stuff I see there. But I know there's going to be some trucking companies there, because I've received emails from them, come by our booth and stuff like that. But I assume with it being a truck show, there's going to be a lot of show trucks there and stuff like that as well. But maybe somebody else in the comments could answer that a little better than I could. And I hope to see you there if you're there. Nick says he loves NASCAR, and Ryan is one of his favorites. My uncle's favorite is Chase Elliott. And I remember Bill Elliott, Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. But I always liked Jeff Gordon and the Earnhardts and all of that gang. But I'm not a fan to the point that I know a whole lot of what I'm talking about. Sometimes when I go visit my uncle, I'll watch a little bit of a race or something, but I mainly just watch to see the crashes. I think the crashes are fun to watch as long as nobody gets hurt. Maybe they could have used that sponsorship money to fix the load board. Yeah, there was some comments in their comment of their video. People were saying you could have used that money for driver raises or something like that. But the truth is, not just them, all trucking companies have a budget, and a certain percentage of their money goes to recruiting, hiring, things like that, and they got to do stuff like that to get new drivers. And honestly, in fairness to them, it's probably not a bad place to advertise. You're going to get a lot of Southern people that are going to be more country, that are going to be more likely to be willing to drive a truck. So I think it makes a lot more sense to advertise there than it would at a science fair or something like that. So good on them. If I don't think when they advertise like that, it takes away from driver pay. But yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I get the sentiment of your comment for sure. My good friend the mayor says all of the above. So there you go, retired vet coach. My good friend the mayor, that'll also be there with me, says that there will be trucks there, and that it's a good place to research trucking companies. And it's probably a good place to kind of network and meet a lot of people. And you never know, it may get your foot in the door with a really good company. So hopefully we'll see you there. Who else we got here? I'm going to drink while we're at the 59-minute mark. If we don't get nothing, we'll probably cut it loose here pretty soon. I'm at SNI making good money. Just paid off my SFI truck. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Are you planning to stick with SNI, or are you thinking about jumping to another company now that you got a title? My good friend Chris is back. To clarify, I would love to post a screenshot of Brett saying it will fully be operational August 1st. Well, I'll say this. Earlier in the video, I said I'm an optimistic person, and I like Brett's optimism. And I like Brett. Brett's a good guy. Brett, a lot of people don't know this. Brett is the reason I came to Swift. I was watching him on another channel, and they were talking about, it's when they were having trouble with the ELD. and they were telling him, hey, the GPS don't work in the ELD. And he was taking notes, and he's the VP of owner operators. He was taking notes. And at one point in the video I saw, he stopped and he said, I'm going to address this right now. And he started emailing somebody about the issue. Now, I saw right there, I said, all right, here's a company. And this is one of the main things I like about Swift. When I saw that, I said, here's a company that's listening to drivers and they're trying to get better. I don't expect them to be perfect, but as long as they're trying, I'm willing to work with them. And I met with Brett when I was in Phoenix, and several times actually, once over by his office and then once in the Jake Break lunchroom. I think it's what it's called, the Jake Break. And we had a pretty good conversation. He's a good guy. And sometimes when people hear me on here, they think that there's some animosity between me and Swift or animosity between me and Brett. And no, I would love to have him on a Tuesday show. I'd love to have some of the other leadership on a Tuesday show, not for a gotcha session, but just so we could learn more. But Brett's one of the people at Swift that I have a lot of respect for, and a very high opinion of him, quite honestly. Let's see, I already did that one. I'm probably leaving now that I have less risk. Yeah, I can get that. Are you going on a load board? Are you going to Landstar? What are you wanting to do? I try really hard. I really do. You know, it's, if I was out here lying to people or out here trying to trick people, there's no way I would go to Matt's, because I'm announcing it almost, 3 weeks before I'm going to be there. It would give people time to get there and confront me. But I will guarantee you, I'll have people confront me there that are like, thank you, Todd. I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate the phone calls. I appreciate the emails. And that's fun to do. I'll probably gain 20 pounds because people will say, hey, I want to go eat a hamburger with you. But that's the best part about this job. And a lot of people get it twisted that it's about other things, but it's helping people, and the good feeling that you get knowing that you made a difference in somebody's life. How many people can say that? Forget the YouTube thing, forget the money. The money's nice, but it all spends and it all goes away. None of us can take it with us when we die. But if you can know that you made a difference in somebody's life, that sticks with you. That's something I think about every day and something I take very seriously. I appreciate you, Speed Shifter. S&I ELD has issues too. Jumps to drive when parked on a brake. It's so annoying. Yeah, there's a guy that I know that his truck, he can be off duty, and when he starts driving, it doesn't switch to the drive line. He could drive all day on off duty and probably get away with it until somebody audited his logs. And I'm not saying what company he works for or his name, but yeah, there's these ELDs aren't perfect. They thought when they put them in trucks that it was going to eliminate all the fraud and all of that, and it hasn't done that. It's definitely improved some things, but you just never know. My bad. You were right, Todd. The driver is Blaine Perkins. Ah, okay. There we go. It, as I said, when it comes to NASCAR, I don't know enough to argue either way, but, yeah, I may check out a couple of races. He seemed like a nice enough guy when he was talking today. Looking at a small or medium-sized carrier, all owner-operator. I know a few, and if you'll email me, I'll talk to you about them. I don't want to do that in here, because as soon as I do that, everybody will start speculating that I'm leaving Swift. But if you'll email me, I can tell you one that comes to mind that I have a pretty high opinion of, and one that a lot of other people are saying is pretty good. It's right there under my name now. My email is truckertodd806@gmail.com. That's Trucker Todd 806. Don't forget the 806. Another guy was getting a bunch of emails from you guys. But I'm answering Speed Shifter's question. Yeah, there's my email right there. And let's go to the next question. I usually have it in the ticker, but tonight I don't. I've just got it under my name. Summertime, I'm looking to do flatbed. Will they train me? So, yeah, Swift will train for flatbed, from what I understand. I'm still trying to get some of the flatbed department on to talk, but it is my understanding that they will train for any of their divisions. And then I'm going to remove your comment for no other reason so that everybody can see the email. And we'll wait a few more minutes, see if we get any more questions. But yeah, there's my email. Feel free to reach out to me. And it may take me a little bit, but I'll get back to each and every one of you just as quick as I can. Anything else? We're up to 32 right now, so we haven't peaked for the night, but we're doing better than what we were earlier. We got down to I think 25 at one point, and I never worry about it too much because a lot of you watch me on the replay, and usually we're up around 500 or 600 by 24 hours later. And I guess we got anything else we want to discuss before we wrap this up? I'm going to hop on the road and drive, and I know I've promised several of you I'd call you back tonight, and I'm going to try to call as many of you as I can. If you don't get me tonight, or if I forget to call you, reach out to me tomorrow and or this weekend. Usually the weekends are slower, and I can talk more and answer your questions better. But all right, we haven't got any questions here lately, so we're going to go ahead and end this one kind of short tonight. I want to thank everybody for coming in, and we'll see you on Tuesday night. Like I said, I got it narrowed down to 2 guests. I'm not sure which one will be in, but it should be a great show. I hope to see you then. Wait, we got another question that... yeah, I agree with you, Sparky Spark. So what he's referring to is the Northeast Regional Dedicated. It's at 55%, and it used to be at 60, and they cut those guys back 5%. I agree that that's unrealistic in my mind. Now, some of the drivers on that account have said they're still making really good money. Maybe, but so what? Other companies are paying 75, 80%, even some companies 65%. I think 55 is just too low, and I don't understand the justification of it, but I agree with you. All right, Speed Shifter, I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks, Buttermilk. I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up if there's nothing else. You guys have a great night. We'll see you Tuesday. Boy, we got some more. I didn't mean that the way it sounded. I just didn't want to miss a comment. That poor driver is going to get abused every time he crashes into a Swift truck. Yeah, I get it. All right, folks, I'm gonna wrap it up. That was pretty funny. Y'all take care. We'll see you. Bye-bye.